So, a couple of big themes have been coming up this week in sessions, grief being one of them. The grief of being in the process of losing someone, having lost someone, or lost something, just loss. And the rebirth that's possible. And the struggle we have, many of us, with feeling the grief, acknowledging the loss, really being with it. Typically, we are not great at that. We're not great at that. Not in the UK, not in most English-speaking countries. And there's something really beautiful about grief in that you can only grieve something you truly love. If you don't really care about something, if you're not really bothered about it, then when you lose it, you know that it didn't really matter. And that can happen in a relationship or life. Lots of ways, you don't get the job. But when you do really feel that sense of loss, there's lots of versions of it coming up for me. Yeah, relationships, my dad, my marriage, a friendship. I know that I loved, continue to love, and that is beautiful, and I'm proud of that. And I don't shy away from the grief anymore. I'm kind of proud of my grief. I loved, and I continue to love, and I will always love. And the grief shows me that I love and that I care. And that feels good. Not having the thing anymore is what it is. There might be regret, there might be anger, there might be resentment. There'll be whatever it is, and it'll be a process. That is grief. The denial, the shock, the negotiating, the what ifs. That's part of the process. And it can be brutal, and it can be really beautiful if we choose to allow ourselves to go on the journey of grief. And what I see really break my heart and kind of stick in my throat is when we don't go on the journey, we resist the journey, and we bottle up the feelings, the anger, the resentment, the disappointment, the sadness. We don't want to feel it, it's too painful. And I see it in people. It's a lot. And we haven't really been taught, we haven't seen how to grieve well, typically. So there've been a few clients this week, it just seems to be a theme. Walking alongside them as they meet their grief, or shy away from their grief, or open to their grief, and learn from their grief, and be with their grief, and appreciate their grief. And it's tender, and it's big. And it leads to joy. If we grieve, if we let ourselves grieve, we really do touch on what we loved, why we loved, how we loved. And for whatever reason, that period of life has passed. But the nourishment that we got from that love, from having that in our lives, even if that love was just a desire, I grieved the children I didn't have. But I could, through my grieving process, acknowledge my longing and my love, my desire to mother. And that's been incredibly beautiful. I mean, there's a separate story to that. The acceptance of that allowed motherhood to come into my life again. But it was through grieving and allowing myself all the feelings, that I could really connect to the love that's at the core of the grief. I've heard the phrase that grief is the price we pay for love. I don't know if I would put it like that, but certainly it is love. It is. And it's a form of transformation. There is always something else possible on the other side. But if we don't grieve, we get stuck. We stay stuck. If I had not grieved and come to the acceptance that comes with grief, I wouldn't have been able to move on in my life, open up to motherhood again, open up to love again, open up to the ways in which my dad is in my life, is in my bones, is in my parenting, is in me. And that nourishes me in you. That rejuvenates me in you. So it's a complex process. And if you are in any form of grief, of loss, big or small, right? It's an ending, leaving a chapter of your life. Like our kids growing up, us growing, like leaving a decade of your life. Like allowing yourself to grieve what is passing, what has passed, feeling whatever is attached to that, and really allowing through that process, almost like an alchemy, then like the love to be what remains. It's heart warrior work, and it's really beautiful. And if you're on any part of that journey, then I commend you. And if there's anything you want to share or reach out about, I'd love to hear from you, because this is a big part of being human. I think that's all I've got for now. Well, lots of love to you and whoever, whatever you love.